With Bethesda's recent Starfield Direct, we've got a pretty good deep dive into what we can expect from the game, and quite honestly, I'm pretty impressed. Now, a lot of us watch the Direct, people are talking about it, and we've noticed so many things, but here's a list of roughly 10 things that you might have missed during the Starfield Direct. Welcome to the Lumberjack Gaming Channel, your place for friendly, quality gaming content. While many of us were blown away by the ship customization, the many traits that you can have, the fact that there's 1,000 planets for you to go and explore, there's a lot there. And in that roughly 45 minutes, here's some things that you may have missed. Now, if you pay close attention throughout the entire Direct, they don't ever really say it 100%, but it is understood that Earth is likely destroyed at this point. Now, obviously, we're still in the same solar system for part of this game. We know that because we've seen footage of Mars, we've seen footage of Earth's moon. However, there are many clues that lead us to believe that there was a great exodus from the Earth from the humans. Some of the footage that we saw was a group of human beings saying that they thought they were the only ones and they're trying to preserve the life that was found on Earth. And there's a great possibility that this right here is, in fact, the St. Louis Arch, which, if you look around it, it seems like Earth ain't doing too good. More than anything, I'm really curious to see what else survived from the Earth if we get to really explore the planet. Now, if you're like me, the ship customization is actually one of my favorite things that I've seen from the Starfield Direct so far. And if you were wondering how many ships we have access to, according to the HUD, it seems like we're going to have a fleet of 9. Now, whether that number can actually go up or not, I'm not sure. However, it does say 1 out of 9 here on the HUD, which leads me to believe that we'll be able to keep up to 9 ships. I'm sure that you can get rid of a ship or scrap a ship for its parts so that you can get some more. Because as they've already shown us, we can 100% do some piracy in space. Because while blowing a ship up is fun, boarding them and stealing their ship seems even more entertaining to me. Another thing that I noticed as I was watching this Direct was the fact that you always see yourself in a spacesuit, which I honestly wasn't a huge fan of. However, as they're talking about the customization options, as they're talking about your appearance and things like that, if you look at the bottom of the screen, it says that you are able to hide your spacesuit when you're in areas where, you can breathe and you don't actually need a spacesuit. So while you'll still have to wear a spacesuit in space, hopefully we'll be able to see some sick drip from our characters as we're running around areas that have oxygen. Now, one of the things that was kind of introduced in the Starfield Direct is the use of skills. So there's a number of skills that we'll be able to choose from when we're creating our character to kind of fine-tune exactly who we want to be. And throughout these skills, we can actually see one that is called Commerce, which will allow us to actually start up small businesses. It says, in the settled systems free market economy, almost anyone with the right skill set can open and run a successful business. So if real life work has got you down, you can always go start a fake business. Now, we don't 100% know exactly what that entails. However, I would guess that it might be something along the lines of being able to sell the minerals and the ores and stuff that you find throughout, maybe at a higher price. Maybe you can even set up some kind of storefront. However, whatever it may be, we know that there's an option to make a few extra dollars. When it comes to the topic of skills and traits, one of the things that you may have noticed, or maybe you noticed right away, is the return of the adoring fan. Now, if you're somebody like me, I love Oblivion. I actually love Oblivion more than I love Skyrim. Like, for me, it's not even close, but I won't get into that argument right now. But if you remember the days of being a champion in the arena and the adoring fan running out to you, they have brought him back for Starfield. That's right, if you choose the trait, you will have a fan that will follow you around everywhere that you go.
I can't believe I get to stand near you, breathing the same air. I've got to have every molecule.
And if you choose to get rid of him, well, there's a way to do that too. But for those of you guys that have never played Oblivion, be careful with this one. One of the things that they also kind of threw in the Direct without actually saying anything about it was Vasco, the new robot companion, and his ability to say your name.
I left Vasco here back at my ship.
Welcome back, Captain Howard.
Now, obviously, fans of Fallout will feel this to be somewhat familiar to Codsworth. However, I feel like the technology might be a little better now, and with the fact that Vasco feels like an actual robotic voice where Codsworth has a very distinct accent, he'll probably be able to pronounce even the hardest of names. One of the other really cool features that you may have missed is when you're exploring, when you're going around and identifying things in the world of Starfield, you can actually see that the different animals and creatures that you find will tell you what biomes they belong to. So This kind of leads us to believe that there isn't just like a planet that has one particular biome, but there might be different biomes on each planet that you can find all across the galaxy. Galaxy, solar system, I don't know the proper terms. Obviously, this makes me really excited because being able to go to one planet and experience a lot of different elements in that planet makes it for a more immersive experience. Also, as a side note, I just think like the living things that are on these planets are really cool designs. I'm excited to see more and more of what they have for us. Another thing that you may not have noticed is the new Persuasion type minigame that you'll have to play when you are trying to persuade NPCs to do something. If you remember back to the days of Oblivion trying to do the emotion wheel with the weird faces that the Oblivion NPCs will make, I know it sounds like I'm hating on Oblivion, but God, I love it. It seems like there's going to be a little bit different system here where there are certain points that you'll get that fill up a bar that's on the bottom left of the screen. And if you get that bar all the way up, by the end of the conversation, you will have successfully persuaded them to do something. I do think this is probably a lot more of an intuitive type system, and I'm pretty excited to see how well I can get other people to do my bidding. And obviously there are different traits that you can kind of spec into to increase your chance at persuading somebody to do something. And going back to ship combat and just general ship use, you can see as you're approaching one of the planets in the direct that they show that they're scanning your entire ship for contraband, which means we're going to get to do a lot of smuggling runs and stealing illegal goods. Part of me wonders if the small businesses that we can start are actually on the black market, because if that's the case, that's definitely the route that I want to take. Now, exactly how we get away with contraband getting into a planet, I don't know if they're going to send out like space police that we then have to fight and then get onto the planet, or whatever that might look like. However, I'm going to get away with a lot of it. I also just think it's absolutely insane that you can basically make like friggin' Optimus Prime into a ship. Now, is it super effective? I don't know, but is it cool as heck? Yeah, absolutely it is. Now, one of the other things that they just kind of threw in there when they were kind of wrapping up everything, talking about the release date, talking about the early access for pre-orders, is the addition of a new story expansion called Shattered Space. So clearly there will already be expansions that are planned for Starfield, and they're planned pretty early on. I do feel like there's a part of me that wonders why they wouldn't just include that in the beginning. I realize that the answer is money, but to even announce like right away that there's DLC for a brand new game that's coming out that they keep bragging that has taken 25 years in the making, and they took some extra time on, I don't know, it's a weird move, but you can get that if you pre-order the correct version of the game. Wrapping up with some of my initial thoughts after the Direct 2, I'm actually pretty impressed with how the state of the game looks. I know that a lot of people are upset because the game will be locked to 30 FPS on console. I understand the frustration for some people. I know that people want next-gen gaming to be 60, 120 FPS. However, for me, that's just not as important, but I am a PC player, so it really doesn't affect me. So I'm not going to speak in too much to that because it actually really doesn't affect me a whole lot. My biggest concern with the game, just like any other Bethesda game, is how buggy is it actually going to be at launch. I hope it doesn't seem like I'm hating on Bethesda. I love Bethesda. However, some of their recent track record has not proven to be very great. I'm looking at Redfall and Fallout 76. However, I would love to hear your guys' comments below on the things that you might have missed in Starfield, your initial impressions. How are you feeling about the game? Are you picking it up? Here at the Lumberjack Gaming channel, we're all about building a friendly community of gamers that just want to hang out, they want to game together, they want to uplift each other. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you have the opportunity, like this video. It really helps out the channel. And for all things gaming and Starfield, keep it here.